And just like that, we are back. The 2023-2024 season is upon us, and Chelsea have made a whole host of changes for this season, not only in the managerial department where we brought in Mauricio Pochettino and his coaching staff, but also in the playing staff. We're going to be looking at a preseason. We're going to be looking at Chelsea's style of play under Mauricio Pochettino, and we're also going to be focusing on the new players that we brought into the club and the players that exist in the club right now and whether or not they are the right fit for the style of football we will be employing under Mauricio Pochettino. So without further ado, let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P, for what is your Chelsea preseason roundup, where we look at all the players we brought in, the style of play under Mauricio Pochettino, analyze it, rip it apart, figure out if this is the style of play that's going to take us forward to the titles, to the Champions League, all of that stuff. We're going to be looking at all of these little nuances in our game that Mauricio Pochettino has brought to the club. But before we get into all that, I do need you guys to do me a big favor. This is a new season. I'm asking you guys again for the same things because we need to grow this channel. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. And if you don't already know, I do have a sponsor for the show. They go by the name of Major League Socks. And fellas, if you ever want to walk in the footsteps of greatness, you know what to do. Hit them up. The link will be in the description. Now guys, I must say I'm extremely excited about this upcoming season. I think that Chelsea have done a lot of work on and off the pitch that has helped them progress their football. Not to mention the fact that Mauricio Pochettino has come in and reinvigorated the squad, given them the necessary tools to succeed. You know, we see the return of intensity to the squad. We see, you know, the high press and like the fitness levels are just extremely high right now. And all of that is accredited to the work that was done by the board from January up until now, and it's been a crazy amount of work that has been done. Players leaving the club, players been sold for an exorbitant amount of money, and players coming in for, you know, unders a lot of the time. So for me, I feel like we've done a lot of work off the pitch to ensure that we have success on the pitch this year, and let's just hope that it all comes together. We're going to be looking at the defense first. Chelsea's shape has changed defensively over the years quite a bit. Obviously, under Thomas Tuchel, we played predominantly with a back three. And under Graham Potter, for large chunks of the year, we also played with a back three. And we've moved away from that under Mauricio Pochettino. We are playing with a back four, two center backs, two fullbacks. And the number one prerequisite to play in Pochettino's defense is you have to be technically sound on the ball. Every one of our defenders right now has technical ability and the ability to pick passes, you know, calm and composed when in possession. And if need be the case, they have the ability to dribble past you and whatnot. And this is the number one requirement that I've seen under Mauricio Pochettino. We need defenders who are technically sound because we are going to be building from the back. I think that Chelsea did a great job at identifying this exact need and finding defenders that are very much suit the bill. We're going to start with Malo Gusto, who for me has just come out of nowhere. I mean, a lot of the things that we're hearing about from Malo Gusto's game was his offensive work, you know, the work that he does in the final third, the crosses that he puts in and whatnot. But the things that have been on display in this preseason is his 1v1 defending, in particular that game against Brighton where he's up against Matoma, who's very, very tricky. He did a fantastic job there. I thought his physicality has been on display this entire preseason. And for the most part, like, we haven't really seen him really assert himself in the final third. And I think that has to do a lot with how Chelsea have been playing with an asymmetrical back three. Our left back on the day, usually Ben Chilwell, would be the one marauding a little bit further forward. So the shape, for the most part, when we're playing under Mauricio Pochettino, when we're building from the back, has been a 3-2-4-1. And in this instance, Malo Gusto just has to show that he is, you know, obviously disciplined enough to just sit back there and just snuff out the danger, you know, and then also when the opportunity arises, get into the progressive areas onto the pitch and make a difference there. We haven't really seen a lot of that yet, but, you know, if you go on his comp when he was at Lyon, you know that he has the ability to make the difference in the final third as well. But, you know, again, I think his defensive acumen has just really come to the fore in the preseason, and I think that we have a real defender on the right flank, somebody that can deputize for Reece James, who I thought again is is just Reece James. Like, you know, you don't get much different from this guy. He's obviously great going forward. He's great defending. He's a powerhouse in there. He's a real leader. He's a guy that I feel is going to be the captain for Chelsea going forward. And I think that the reason why, you know, a lot of people online are seeing, you know, there's a mixed reviews about whether or not we should start Malo Gusto or Reece James is just basically down to the fact that Reece James hasn't really elevated his game since, you know, the last couple of years where he's been at an exceptional level. Like, he hasn't really added to his exceptional level. So I think people have gotten a little bit complacent with his style of play, and also the fact that he hasn't really been, you know, available a lot. So, you know, I feel like people have just forgotten who this guy is. You know, a guy that can marshal and the right flank incredibly well. All the things that he put on display for us the last few years are still there. It's just whether or not he can stay healthy enough to provide us with the service that we need in that right back position. He's still incredible on the ball. He can still strike the ball with an incredible amount of accuracy. He's still very, you know, good at like getting up the field and putting the switches in, you know, the crossfield switches. Another part of the game that I haven't seen really from Malo Gusto as yet, but I'm sure he's more than capable of. There's just a complete game under Reece James, and if he can stay healthy, I think we're going to see something special from this guy this year, especially with the armband. I mean, the one thing that you do get with Reece James, and I think it's just down to the reason why he can't stay healthy, is he just plays a robust style of football. You know, he's very, very physical, and, you know, that position right back is physically demanding as in, and when you take into consideration the way Reece James likes to win tackles, the way he plays the game overall, it leaves him susceptible to injuries a lot of the time. So, you know, for him, I think that Malo Gusto is the perfect yin to his yang. I think that duo, that tandem, offer different things. I think that we have complete right backs, guys that can get up and down the pitch, guys that are fearless in tackles, and when they get into the final third, know what to do when they get there. So I think that we've identified in Malo Gusto a guy that completely suits the style of play that we're going to be playing under Mauricio Pochettino, and hopefully going forward he will get more opportunities. But for me right now, he's got a lot of work to do to get ahead of Reece James. Now in the center back area, we obviously lost Wesley Fofana, and that is a crushing blow, a guy that, you know, we invested a lot in last summer and expected him to be, you know, our featured center back going forward, you know, deputizing for Thiago Silva, obviously up there in age right now, coming in and being the steward to him. And, you know, just losing him was just, man, it was crippling for me, because I really feel bad for the guy. I really feel like he has a skill set that is unique and onto itself, and had he been given the opportunity to, you know, just kick on and play the football that he wants to play, I think we would have saw something really special from him this year. So unfortunately, he's not going to be with us all year, and the road to recovery is going to be immense for him. It's going to be crazy, you know, like obviously Chelsea don't rest. You know, we bring in new players all the time. You know, we have to kick on, we have to, you know, improve upon last season, and, you know, we can't wait for Wesley Fofana right now. So his road to recovery is going to be immense, and I'm wishing him the best. Now with that said, I would say that we're thin at right center back, because we do have a world-class Rolls-Royce defender in Thiago Silva. Now when you watch this guy play, he just exudes class every time he's on the ball. His touches, his passing range, his ability to like read the game and whatnot. And like, it's just incredible that at the age of 38, 39, I don't even know how old he is anymore, you can still see this class. He still has the athleticism to get up and win aerial duels. He still has the ability to like pick passes all over the pitch. And it seems to me that as the game evolves and we're playing with more direct passes from the defenders into our attackers, you know, it seems like the game has now, you know, evolved to benefit his amazing, unique skill sets. You know, like Thiago Silva on the ball is unbelievable. Thiago Silva ranging passes into the final third is unbelievable, like unrivaled. And I think that the game now is suiting him best now, especially under Mauricio Pochettino, who's shown a propensity for wanting to play out from the back, but not only out from the back, but play a really direct style out from the back. All the other center backs, I feel like, have to possess that quality if they're going to get on the pitch a lot. You have to be able to play that direct ball in behind. You have to be able to read the play and know when to release the ball, you know, study the runners and whatnot. And, you know, who better to learn under than Thiago Silva, who's been doing it for so long and continually shows his class on the pitch. Now, this next move did happen very recently. Obviously, Chelsea went back into the window to address the loss of Wesley Fofana. Ghana and went to Monaco and signed the right center back, right fullback in Axel Disasi. And guys, I have limited knowledge on this guy's game. We haven't seen him in the preseason, but from what I've seen in the comps and what I've read through, CFC Central, I feel like has a strong grasp of these players from these other leagues. So I lean on him heavily for this type of stuff. I feel like we have a powerful player who is elegant on his feet. A guy that can win a ton of aerial duels, has an incredible athleticism about him, and is, again, a guy that can range passes. I mean, one of the other things that I really like about his game is not only is he a right-sided center back, but he also play right fullback. And, again, if we address the need where we're talking about Chelsea playing with a 3-2-4-1, playing out from the back, and, doing that asymmetrical shape where our right back will sometimes make up that back three, and sometimes our left back will make up our back three, and then the right back will push forward to create an overload on the right. I think that Disasi is basically the prototype in that particular role. A guy that can sit, can be a guy that is a disruptor in the back, but can also get forward. And when he gets into the attacking half, he's a guy that understands where the switches are. He understands how to range the passes. He can execute them at a high level. And all of this stuff is exactly what is required from Maurizio Pochettino. We need defenders that, of course, can not only range those passes, the switches out to the left, the guys that can play it in behind to our attackers, but also we need guys that are capable of understanding when it's on and when it isn't. I mean, not only is he a guy that can spray passes and switches and whatnot, but he's also a threat from set pieces. He's a guy that when you put in the telling crosses, he attacks it with an immense amount of power and scores a lot of goals. Everything that he does on the ball just seems to exude power. When he gets into the box and he's striking the ball, he strikes it with power. When that ball gets hit, it stays hit. I mean, going forward, I think that his game is well suited for the Premier League and in this style of football that Maurizio Pochettino wants to adopt. Now, we did get a bright showing from one of our returnees from loan from Brighton, Levi Colwill, who has been touted as one of England's up-and-coming left-sided defenders, one that many people think will go on to captain the side and whatnot. And he's an incredible defender. Don't get it twisted. I know that for many people that have watched him last year at Brighton, he was he came on in the second half and had a fantastic, didn't play a foot wrong, had a fantastic second half of the season, and was rewarded with a contract extension from Chelsea through the strength of his preseason here and Maurizio Pochettino's endorsement of his play. He's a guy, once again, that is an incredible passer of the football. One of the major requirements under Maurizio Pochettino. A guy that is comfortable in possession. A guy that, understands where the runs are and understands he played on the carpet. He can make those aerial passes, aerial angled passes, and does it with an incredible amount of accuracy. And again, this is going to be the hallmark of Chelsea's game, playing out from the back. Our defenders are going to be tasked with being ball deliverers, guys that can range passes. And who better than Thiago Silva, Disasi, Colwill right now? There's a lot of talent there in that particular aspect of the game. And yeah, with Colwill, I just think that he still has to get up to speed with playing meaningful minutes for Chelsea. I do think that there's a learning curve there. There's a lot more pressure here than there was at Brighton. And, he didn't have an impeccable preseason. He played well. He earned his spot in the squad. He did make some mistakes here and there, and he has to clean up his game a little bit more. But, overall, I don't think that we're going to have a problem with him as our left-sided center back. And, there will be a healthy competition between him and Badiashile when he returns to full fitness. So I'm happy with what was decided. I think that we made the right decision to give this guy a long-term contract because he's only really just scratching the surface in terms of what he can do on the pitch. And besides that, he's already shown us that he has an incredible quality, one that we will be using in this season under Maurizio Pochettino. With Trev Chalobah, I really do think that we have a dedicated squad guy, a guy that is, been at Chelsea since he was a youth and, has qualities as a squad guy. I think if he was very comfortable with just playing as our fifth center back, somewhere in and around there where, he comes in spot duties here and there if there's injuries, he'd be fine. I would have no problem with it. But I don't think that he's shown enough in his game, consistency in his game, to warrant challenging for one of the starting roles or one of the regular positions in that center back position. And he probably isn't, his ambitions probably taking him away from the club, where he kind of wants to play a little bit more now. He's not a young kid anymore. He's 24, 25 years old. And it's probably time for him to kick on and start playing some real football if he's going to do that. So, I mean, if he's welcome to staying as a fifth choice center back, I'm happy to keep him, but I feel like his ambition might take him outside of the club, and he needs opportunities as well. Everyone needs opportunities to show their football, and he's had the opportunities. He's not necessarily not taken them, but it's just his problem is always going to be consistency and whether or not he can consistently play at a high level for Chelsea Football Club. Now, there's a belief last summer that Chelsea have sorted out their left back issues when we signed Marc Cucurella to partner him with Ben Chilwell, who seems to have problems staying healthy and has continued on to that even into last season. And it's difficult. Like, for me, without question, I think Cucurella has qualities, but I just don't know if his skill set matches what we need from our left backs right now. Obviously, when we play this asymmetrical 4-2-3-1 where we have a back three, he seems to be comfortable with playing as the left-sided defender. He's done it a lot. I'm just not sure if the quality is there. I don't think that he has the spatial awareness to be effective in that role. But again, just the fact that he's available to play that role for us is an asset, I guess, in some ways. But overall, like the amount of money that we paid for, Cucurella, the $65 million of Brighton, it's looking like a massive overspend given the quality that we're getting from him, match after match. And, he's not really, in my opinion, pushed Ben Chilwell. Like, this is what you want. You want healthy competition for places all over the pitch. I know there are people that said Ian Maatsen could play there. He's not been tested there at all under Pochettino. Pochettino sees him as an attacker. And if the rumors are true, Lewis Hall, who is a midfielder by trade, is going on loan potentially to Crystal Palace. So it's really up to Cucurella to, up his levels and push Ben Chilwell to the limits. And I just don't feel like that's happening right now. Like, when we think about what we need from our fullbacks going forward, does he have the ability to link up play, be effective in the final third, putting that telling cross? Is he the kind of guy that can get on the ball when we want to overload the box and just crush it and score a goal? No, he's none of that. What he is a defensive-minded left back. What I do like about his game, though, is his aerial ability. If we're looking to range those 35 to 40-yard passes out to the left flank where, we're trying to beat the press, we're trying to get into the second wave of their press and bypass the first wave, I think that he's good in those areas where he can just knock it down and get us playing further up the pitch in a more direct fashion. But, there's so many other aspects to left back right now that we need to see from Cucurella that we're not getting. His reading of the game is poor, and his overall application, his overall spatial awareness is just not up to snuff. And for that reason, it's Ben Chilwell for me. But again, like, a lot of people you go online will tell you that when Ben Chilwell is in possession of the football, he's often where, the ball comes to his foot is where the attacks die down. He's not really, moving the ball quickly into areas where we can be effective. And, his passing accuracy hasn't been great. His defending has been paltry. He's obviously very good at striking the ball and scoring goals. I think he has more to his game than that. I think that he has the ability and the pace to threaten back lines. I think that in the preseason, what the things that we did see from him is when he was asked to, just basically play as a left midfielder and basically threaten their back line, he had opportunities where he's getting in behind using his pace. And I think that comes down to his fitness. His fitness levels in preseason were extremely high. But with that said, I think that there is going to be a lot of risk involved with playing Ben Chilwell with, say, somebody like Reece James. Because obviously Reece James, when we're playing that asymmetrical 3-2-4-1, Reece James is going to be high up the pitch because his quality dictates that he needs to be there. He's a difference maker in the final third. Same can be said for Ben Chilwell in that regard too. And I think that they're going to have to read off of each other extremely well. We saw in the later portions of the preseason that when Ben Chilwell advanced up the pitch, you would see Reece sit. When Reece went up the pitch, you'd see Ben Chilwell sit. So we'd always have that back three intact, but you know, there is a difference in quality when you see Ben Chilwell sitting in that back three than when you see Reece James sitting in that back three, than when you see Cucurella sitting in that back three. So there's going to be opportunities for teams to, you know, if they understand who's on the pitch and they have an understanding of what their strengths and weaknesses are, where they can, you know, hurt us in those wide areas. So it's important, number one, that both Ben Chilwell and Reece James, if they are our starting fullbacks, that they play off of each other and they understand when one goes, one has to sit, and when the other goes, you know, they have to sit. So we really have to hone that in if we're going to be effective in this asymmetrical 3-2-4-1.